It's me again, back with another 10-minute 40k battle rep. New subscribers have taken the channel past 2k subs since the last report, so welcome, and thanks.
You've charmed me, yeah?
So, as promised last time, this report will see Abaddon take to the field once more, this time to face off against Ghazghkull. Should be cool to see two Supreme Commanders duke it out. Anyway, without further ado, let's take a look at the rosters.
They have it. Stompa.
Mission stats. We're playing Tide of Conviction, and for secondaries I take Bring It Down, Mutate, and Wrath of Magnus.
What the hell? Are you dumb? Are you dumb? Are you dumb?
Okay, so I played this battle before I even uploaded my previous report, so I made the same mistake by taking Wrath of Magnus when I'm not allowed, as my opponent has no psychers. Fortunately, it once again doesn't change the outcome of the battle. Orks take Abhor, get to good bits, and to biggest and to best. Here's deployment. My army's mostly hidden, but the laser destroyer is just poking out a little bit, as there wasn't quite enough room. Abaddon's behind the central ruins, along with 5 Termies. The 10-man squad's in deep strike. Orks left and center. Ghazghkull's in the middle, in the battle wagon. And just to the right, we have the Stompa, scrapjets, and finally the Squigosaur. So, Orks get the first turn. Let's get into the battle. We basically just have the battle wagon and Stompa coming forward as much as possible, and the rest of the vehicles maneuver a bit to get into position. I believe the Grots come forward and do their good bits action thing. I didn't think it would have enough movement, but the Stompa actually manages to move enough so that its cables and wiring and shiz can peek around the side of this building, meaning it can target the Vindicator.
God damn it! Oh shit!
Even with a full volley from the Titanic monstrosity, however, it's not enough to bring the Vindy down, as I roll well for invulnerables, and it survives with 4 wounds.
I really thought it was over.
Well, that's it for Orks turn 1, on to the Dusty Boys. I have a tough choice. Do I send my central blob forwards and hope I can do enough in shooting to bring down the Stompa? I don't think I can take it out in one turn, and I don't want to face a dual onslaught from the Stompa and Ghazghkull next turn, so I decide to keep my guys hidden for now. Should I even go after the Stompa?
Well, here's news. We are going after it.
I need to at least soften it up ready for a turn 2 takedown. It just has too much firepower. My spawn take the objective on the right, and I back the Vindicator up as much as possible, although it's nerfed and can't move as far as I need it to in order to keep it hidden next turn. On the left, I decide to keep all these guys back for now too, contributing nothing. A mistake, I think. Psychic sees my Flamer rubrics get teleported here, to deny some primaries next turn and to hopefully act as some sort of speed bump.
Decoy.
The Vindy gets +1 to hit, cause boy does it need it now. The Termies get a 4++, and some smites go on to the Stompa. Okay, so basically everything shoots at the Stompa, and we manage a total of 32 wounds, so, pretty good. The Vindicator gets 3 hits and 3 wounds, doing over half of the damage on its own. Once again the Vindy proves to be an absolute beast. This turn I mutated my home objective and scored a couple of points for Wrath, but I'm a little concerned that the Stompa will still be firing at full effectiveness next turn, and I'll have a Ghazghkull to deal with. Orks turn 2, and they call the Wa. Gaz disembarks and comes forward, along with the battle wagon and Stompa. On the right, the Squigosaur boss squares up to the spawn. In the backfield as Grots carry on pissing about and scoring points for get to good bits. In shooting, he can see the Vindicator, as just as I thought, it wasn't able to retreat far enough to hide, so it gets finished off.
But you can't do this to me.
In combat, The Squigosaur boss charges in and easily wipes out the spawn, and they get a triple charge into this sacrificial unit of rubrics, who obviously get completely mullered. Interestingly, they do it in such a way that it'll be very difficult for me to get any combat units in on Gaz next turn.
I don't like the sound of that.
My turn 2. The Decimator comes out of hiding so it can target the Squigosaur, which you can't quite see. Abaddon and the small unit of Termies move up, and I deep strike the 10-man squad down here, who have to surround the Decimator. I don't like it, but he's arranged his grots, mechs, and some of his vehicles in such a way that there's nowhere useful at all I can deep strike in his backfield, and I really need their firepower this turn, so I'm forced to bring them in down here.
Well,
On the left, the Exalted and Rubrics decide to lend some of their firepower at long last. Psychic sees these Rubrics surge onto the objective to steal it from the Squigosaur and mutate it, +1 to hit and 4++ go off on the big unit of Termies, and a few lackluster smites here and there. So, I pour a ton of firepower into the Stompa. It gets pretty dicey as more and more units fail to pull their weight, but in the end I do manage to bring it down. However, the bastard frickin' explodes, and he uses the juicy Korean stratagem to move the Stompa into prime position, showering my army in a massive explosion. When the dust settles, several Terminators and Rubrics are dead, Ahriman is wounded, and most annoyingly of all, Abaddon takes 3 wounds.
You have gone too far this time. You have gone so past the line that you can no longer even see it.
Elsewhere, I bring the battle wagon down to 8 wounds, and I pour a decent amount of firepower into the Squigosaur, including the Decimator, but it only takes like 1 frickin' wound. Finally, with the Stompa dead, Abaddon is free to try and charge Gaz, and he succeeds, also targeting the battle wagon too, along with the Rubrics. I managed to do a few wounds to Gaz in psychic and shooting, so he only has 6 left. And here's the shot we've all been waiting for, an epic showdown between these two mighty warriors. I'm glad we managed to make it happen.
Hell yeah.
Abby splits attacks and performs as expected, easily destroying the battle wagon, and doing the maximum 4 wounds to Gaz, who dutifully strips 3 more off Abby in return. Orks turn 3 movement. His remaining vehicles come forward, as does the Squigosaur. His grots are still piddling around on various objectives and are unscathed. I've felt too under pressure to target them so far. A mistake. In shooting, these Rubrics get blown away, and his shock attack gun targets the Decimator, but doesn't manage to destroy it. The scrapjets ramming speed into Abaddon, and easily kill him with their mortal wound shiz. This then frees up Gaz to charge into my small squad of Termies.
it shocked the f out of me.
And yeah, he easily mullers them. The Squigosaur charges my other Termies, but underperforms, only kills a couple, and gets killed in return. We got a lot of ground to make up here, dudes.
Well, let's start the insanity.
Termies and Rubrics move up, while the Decimator takes over home objective duty. Psychic and shooting sees Ghazghkull and the custom boost of blasters destroyed. Ahriman also goes wide and surges onto the rightmost objective. The Termies then charge the scrapjets, killing one and consolidating onto the objective over here. The board state is starting to look up for Thousand Suns, but somehow I've scored nothing for primaries so far, due to my pussified early turns, while Orks have scored a ton, so score-wise I'm lagging. Orks turn 4. The grots on the right get a lucky advance roll and steal the objective from Ahriman.
They came bounding over.
The other grots carry on doing their grot things. A mech comes round to harass the Rubrics, and the squig buggy comes forward as the scrapjet falls back. Nothing of note happens in shooting. The buggy then charges the Termies, but whiffs and doesn't kill any. They fail to kill it in return, but leave it badly wounded, and take the opportunity to creep closer towards the Orks' home objective. In my turn 4, Ahriman flies across to help the Termies, and together they finish off the buggy and psychic. The Termies then get surged towards the Orks' home objective, and take out the scrapjet in shooting. The Decimator just kills a couple of grots. The Termies then charge the central grots, but 4 survive, and they don't flee, meaning the Termies fail to steal the objective, cause these grots are horrible gits with obsec.
Go fuck yourself.
In Orks turn 5, they just have grots and the shock attack Big Mech left. The grots do fuck all, and the Big Mech whiffs against Ahriman. In my turn 5, I kill all the grots, and score a massive 20 frickin' points on primaries. Over on the left it's accomplished with a combination of shooting, Psychic, and 2 charges. Ahriman and the Decimator finish off the right-hand unit, and the Termies charge and finish off the remaining central grots, but trail back to keep the objective. So, did I do enough? Let's see the final scores. No, I did not. Everything came good at the end, but it was too little too late, and Orks win 86-65. As you can see, although we tied on secondaries, I got absolutely mullered on the primaries. Time for a post-battle summary then.
This ought to be good.
So my big mistake was not targeting the grots earlier, which meant that not only did Orks have the upper hand with primaries right up until the last turn, but they were also able to max out get to good bits. I don't think it would have been that easy to take out the grots early on without massively trading down, but it was a necessary sacrifice. As it was, I felt hemmed in and scared to move right from the start, which played right into the Orcs' hands. My opponent's screening and movement was also key to his victory, as otherwise I could have threatened his home objective much earlier. The Stompa worked well as a damage sponge in turn 1 if nothing else, although I can see why it's horrifically overcosted. It was a cool unit to face though. Even though it got to shoot a ton, the Decimator was pretty underwhelming. It wounded itself 1 or 2 times most turns, and didn't really cause that much damage. I do still want to try out a pair at some point, but at 180 points it does seem a bit lackluster. Abaddon did the best with what he was given, I think. Losing the 3 wounds to the Stompa's explosion was huge, as otherwise he could either have survived the Orc retaliation, or at least meant Gaz would have needed to stay in combat to kill him, meaning I'd have had an extra unit of Termies left on the board. Anyway, it was only his second outing, and he obviously brings a ton to the army. Well, I think that'll do it for another report. Thanks to my opponent, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed it, please like, comment, and subscribe for more bat reps. And probably more 40k raps too at some point if I'm being completely honest.
What are you fucking nuts?
Because that last one was enjoyable as all frick to create. Goodbye.